who is the best defender for this occasion.
And with Zinchenko, it's interesting because initially when he came into the club, everybody looked at him as this mentality monster. His mentality has been questioned in terms of his concentration lapses.
Mikel Arteta's got a big decision. Who starts against Bayern Munich? Of course, every game we have these debates, but I think this one gets really interesting. Jorginho played very well against Brighton. Does he keep his place? Thomas Partey is fully fit. Martinelli has now made quite a few sub appearances. Is he ready to get a start? And many other players to discuss, debate, even the left back situation. So let's just not waste time. David Raya's going to start. Cool. Every video I feel like I have to just more and more be like, we're not having the Ramsdale debate. Leave that. Cool. But then the back four gets interesting. Now, the first thing I want to explore is who we want to see. Because I think what Arteta's going to do is an interesting debate. He's been hard to predict recently. So let's just first say what we want to do. I'll start with our lovely guest, Curtis. Go subscribe to Curtis Shaw TV. Your back four, I imagine 3 of them keep their place and the left back gets interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there's no sort of time for sentiment now, is there?
No.
He had a good run of games and he's done well before. It's about who is the best defender for this occasion. So the back four, like you said, 3 of them picked themselves. Ben White, who I think since Dubai, I think has been outstanding by the way.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he's having his best spell at Arsenal actually.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 centre-backs who, I'm not going to talk about them for too long, but I would say since Kolo Toure and Sol Campbell, this is the best central defensive pairing we've had at the club. I think they're outstanding.
Yeah, agreed.
And I'm glad that Gabriel's now getting his flowers because we're all in the Saliba, world. Yeah. But, Gabriel now is getting what he deserves. For me at left back, I'm going for Tomiyasu.
Tomiyasu.
Yeah, because I just think Bayern Munich's wingers are probably one of their biggest threats.
Yeah.
Whether it's Kingsley Coman, Sané, Gnabry, they're all very quick, very direct. And even though Kivior's had a good run, I still just question if a game like this at left back is a bit too much for him.
Yeah.
Zinchenko obviously offers qualities on the ball, but I just think defensively.
I knew you were going to say,
I'm trying my best.
As soon as he prefaced it by saying his qualities on the ball, I knew what was coming.
You knew what
next.
was coming.
Yeah.
In fact, even on the ball, some games he's giving the ball away too easily. So
he's not got back to last season's Zinchenko at all this season.
I think it's very easy to forget how good he was
I
last
totally
season.
agree.
He transformed us.
Yeah.
But this season, whether it's the injuries being in and out of the team, the way we're playing, I just think. But for me, I go with Tomiyasu because I just think 1v1 defending, I think he's the best option out of the 3.
All right, Laurie, are you thinking the same at left back?
I am. And it's not just because I've got so much respect for Curtis, he said it. But yeah, that left back position is, because listen, with Zinchenko, it's interesting because initially when he came into the club, everybody looked at him as this mentality monster that come from City. He's got the experience, he's won the titles. But it could be argued that certainly in recent times, his mentality has been questioned in terms of his concentration lapses. And I don't think you can afford that in this particular game against an opponent like Bayern Munich, which Curtis pointed out quite accurately. Their strengths are in their attack, in particular the wingers. I know we're going to talk about Harry Kane later, but yeah, so I think you need to shore that up. And I think of the 3, Zinchenko will probably be at the bottom in terms of defending. So straight shootout between Tomiyasu and Kivior. Probably lean towards Tomiyasu.
Yeah, I would too, and a big reason is I feel like these nights don't come very often. I know there's 2 legs, but there's only one at the Emirates. There's only one chance to be in front of your home crowd and play your best football with whatever you think is the best 11. Now, they might feel Tomiyasu still needs more minutes and they still need to get him up to speed, but the reality is when everyone is fully fit, and I'd include Jurgen Timber in this, Tomiyasu may still be the best option for this game and for that particular task. And every other game we've got to come, say in the Premier League, I back us to still win those games with Zinchenko or Kivior if Tomiyasu isn't quite up to it. So I think it's a not once in a season. You can get through, suddenly we're talking about City and Real Madrid at this stage, but these games don't come very often. Yeah. And I would take the risk and get Tomiyasu in there. Yeah. So we build our midfield, and the obvious ones are Odegaard and Rice, and we're flying through those because look, I think Rice is world class. I think Odegaard is close to world class, could get there. For some reason, I feel like with him, it's more about he's got to lift the trophy. I don't know why. I feel like that is, maybe he's a bit younger. I don't know what it is. But the talent and potential is there for both, are unreal. But then we've kind of struggled this year to find the right partner. And that right partner could be another 6 so that you free up Rice, or it could be that number 8 with try Kai Havertz, Vieira, Smith Rowe, you name it, loads of players. Obviously Thomas Partey's fit, so I don't know where you guys are even thinking about. We'll go to you first, Laurie. What would you do for that third midfielder?
Thanks. You know what? This is another area where, a bit like the left-back position, where you're thinking that there could be options there. As much as I'd love to see Partey get a little run, I think the way Jorginho's played recently, you can't really go against that. I think I've used this phrase in the past, possession is 9/10 of the law. Jorginho's been in possession of the shirt and he's performed very, very well. So I'd be inclined to stick with him.
Okay. It's a big one.
It is a big decision.
It contradicts what I was just saying about Tomiyasu. How often do these games come around, and if they can get to their best, you could use that all for Thomas Partey. Really.
I suppose the biggest question for me is Thomas Partey fit enough to play this game? He played 70 against Luton. I don't think he even came on against Brighton, did he?
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't. No, you're right.
Listen, for me, if they feel Partey is fully fit,
that could be an indication, by the way, that he might be used for this game, so they didn't bring him on.
Listen, like you said, these are occasions that don't come around too often. I think if you had a debate, who is the better player when fully fit, Jorginho or Partey, I would still say Partey offers a bit more for us.
Yeah, I agree.
Listen, for me, if Partey's fit, I would go Partey, Rice.
But could I offer something here? I don't think it's just fitness. I think it's being up to speed. A couple of times when Partey's come on, obviously the talent we all know is there. Yeah. And like you said, on their best day, I would say that Partey is the more effective player.
Yeah.
But I just feel the manager might be thinking he's still not quite up to speed yet. He's probably an athlete that needs a few games to accustom to the pace and, the tempo and everything else. So that's why I would lean towards.
You lean for Jorginho.
Well, I've got a slightly different take on it. Jorginho would start for me, but I would do what we did against Liverpool, which is flip the roles of Rice and Jorginho. Let Jorginho get up the pitch a bit more like he did against Liverpool, get into that kind of more left 8 creative space where he can get on the ball, play and press, and have Rice sitting, because what we tend to see Rice as the box-to-box doing the Xhaka role, which that's exactly what he's been doing when he's not been the defensive midfielder in the team. But all of Bayern Munich's threats for me are in that exact area in front of the back four. Yeah. Harry Kane drops in, Musiala, Müller tuck inside, as to the other wing, whether it's Sane, Gnabry. You'll see that in average positions maps, you'll see that. And I'm a casual when it comes to Bayern Munich. I don't watch them every day. So someone who does might say, James, that isn't where they pack out the pitch. But just at a very surface level, it feels like that's where you want to stop them. And I wouldn't take Rice out of that midfield. Yeah. And it reminds me of Liverpool. They play with their wingers quite narrow. They like to really get a lot of central players, buzzing in and around, your centre backs. And I wouldn't want to remove Rice from that position. If you do, then I'd want Partey. But I actually think you can get the best of both. Have Rice and let Jorginho's passing range influence the game further up the pitch.
My concern with Jorginho is that you get the likes of Musiala dropping in little pockets, very mobile, very agile.
Yeah.
Is Jorginho going to have the speed to keep up with those guys? Where I feel Partey and Rice, I think we can lock them down a little bit more. But obviously the biggest question with Partey is he up to speed? And if he's not, you can't really risk him. I think it will be Jorginho.
That's why
I will go with him.
Yeah, that's why I just think that with Partey, I've been observing him when he has come on. It's taken him a little while to get up to speed. Like I said, he looks like that athlete that needs a run of games in order for him to do that. Whereas Jorginho, being the man in possession, has played the games. He's got the experience. He's got the talent. So I think he will get the nod in this particular game.
Fair enough. So let's go for the front three then, because of course Bukayo Saka did return to the 11, came off again against Brighton. Partey's been doing some shifts on the right, which is interesting to see what Arteta might be trying there. And then the striking position is interesting because you've got Havertz, you've got Jesus. I don't know, just give us your front. Give us your front three, Laurie.
Well, he just said one of them straight. No, listen, when it comes to, let's start with a man through the middle. It's got to be Havertz. He's been playing really, really well, and he's looking a big part of things. In fact, he's almost becoming one of the first names on the team sheet at the moment, so yeah, he's going to play.
I thought he was very good against Brighton.
He was. I mean, some people were saying that it's probably his best game for Arsenal, so that pretty much tells you everything. On the wings, Saka's got to play for me. Outstanding player. He's got the temperament and he's got the ability. And he's one of those players as well that even when he's not at his best, he's got moments in him that can turn a game. So yeah, he's got to play. For me, on the other flank, I'm going for Martinelli. I think he's had a few games where he's not started. I think he's looking sharper each time, and I think we could definitely do with his pace. Because ironically enough, I think that's one of the things that this Arsenal team, if we're lacking in anything, is actually pace.
Yeah.
And Martinelli brings a bundle
More
of that.
blistering pace, I agree.
Yeah. And not only does he have the pace, he's got the what I call the aggression. Like, he likes to run with the ball, and that will cause defenders havoc. And I think,
Okay.
he's got to play.
Yeah. You thinking the same? Especially that striking position, because Kai Havertz has done well.
Yeah, listen, the biggest compliment you can give to Havertz is that he's a definite in the team now.
Yeah.
3 or 4 months ago, I didn't even want this guy at the club, probably, never mind the team. Now he's, took the striker spot. I agree with the front three that you've said because, I think...
Saka, Havertz, Martinelli.
Yeah, because I think
Yeah,
Martinelli
I do
could
too.
hurt Kimmich or Lema, whoever's at right back. I actually am not sure whether Martinelli will play, though, because, number one, was that injury worse than what they said? He hasn't started a game since getting injured at Sheffield United. And I thought Jesus did well against Brighton on the left, and I think his Champions League experience, he's had a good Champions League campaign for us as well, if you look at his goals. So I wonder if Arteta will lean towards Jesus on the left. But if Martinelli was fit, I would definitely go for him, because that speed will hurt Bayern Munich.
Okay then, so now we're going to go through the positions again, but I'm just going to ask you to say the name of the person you think will be there.
Yeah.
So obviously Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel, left back. Who you think Arteta will pick?
He could go Kivior, because from what I understand, Kivior is the quicker guy, right? And if you're coming up against Bayern Munich's speedy wing... Well, when he first came to the club, there was a school of thought that was suggesting that he was amongst the fastest in the club. Isn't that right, Curtis?
Yeah,
We were told
that
like
40-metre sprint or something.
So a famous test that
Yeah,
every 5 years we hear about.
A different...
Yeah.
And look, at this level,
man, Saka won it once.
At this level, pace is important. And we've spoken about Bayern's pacey wingers. So that could play into the manager's thinking.
Okay, so Kivior.
I think he might go Kivior, yeah.
I think he's going to play Tomiyasu, only because Kivior was playing, sort of had that rhythm. He's taken him out. He hasn't been bringing him on. So to just bring him out of the cold and say go and play Bayern Munich, I think would be a bit risky. Where Tomiyasu has been coming on, I feel like he's almost building him up for the start. So I think he'll go with Tomiyasu.
You just changed my mind. I was about to say Kivior, you'd convince me, and then you're right. Does he not play him for 2 games and then suddenly go, yeah, here's Bayern? I agree with you. I think there was an opportunity to get Kivior at least some minutes to just get up to speed ahead of that. Not that he's been playing a lot of football, and I know he's had the international break, but you're right, I agree. Tomiyasu. So our predicted 11 so far is Tomiyasu in the back 4. Midfield, Jorginho or Partey? Pick one.
I think he'll go Jorginho.
Yeah, I think he'll go Jorginho.
I think he'll
as well.
stick with Jorginho.
Yeah.
Okay, we all agree. So at the moment our team is Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Tomiyasu, Jorginho, Rice, Ødegaard. We agree on Havertz, we agree on Saka, and then your final player is?
I think he'll play Jesus on the left.
I think he'll go Martinelli for the pace again. I think pace is
I hope
important.
he does.
Yeah.
I hope he does. But
I too think he'll go Martinelli. I think he will. I think he'll think he's dangerous for this one, and he's been giving him minutes. So there we go, everyone. That's the predicted 11. We've also told you what we want to see and how we'd like to see it deployed in the game against Bayern Munich. Go check out the preview if you missed that show as well. Lots of other content from Forever Arsenal and more. We're back at home here at the Emirates for the big game against Bayern Munich. We all know how it ended last time, but Arsenal need to prove they've come a long way since then.